What food always makes you think of the perfect Christmas day?
Oh, there's so many. Let's see, that book of lifesavers that we always got in our stocking. Ooh, a yummy breakfast casserole to start the day.
Hmm.
And let me see. Oh, yeah, candy canes.
Oh, yes, I remember all of those, but today's recipe is not one of them. Today, we are going to make the ever popular Christmas caramel corn.
Oh, okay. Well, let the festivities begin. Welcome to Mom's Wooden Spoon.
Get your apron on and your fanny flicker ready as we cook up some nostalgia.
Ooh, yummy.
Hi, this is Carrie,
And this is Kristen.
and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
We have taken another recipe from Mary's 1974 Christmas memo.
Christmas spectacular.
Oh, it totally was. She didn't even put like her normal logo with picture on the top. It was
No.
front and back, jam packed of the best Christmas recipes you may want to make for yourself and your loved ones.
Yes, and this is the same one that our 24-hour party salad came from.
Exactly.
Yep.
This time we're going to make oven baked caramel corn.
Because that is so Christmassy.
It screams Christmas to me. It did scream something to me.
What?
It screamed to me, how do you pronounce caramel?
Right.
I think it's regional. I did ask my dad how he pronounces it. He was like, the way any good Northwest Ohioan would pronounce
That's
it.
right.
Caramel. But it is in fact not spelled caramel.
No.
It's spelled
Caramel. Yeah.
So I think we're probably wrong.
I think we're probably wrong because when we looked it up online, Carrie and I spent a long time looking this up because we wondered, because I have friends who say it differently and I have people that I know from Ohio that say it differently.
Mhm.
So I wonder if it's just the house you grew up in.
Yep, I don't know, but we're going to mispronounce it as caramel
Caramel.
throughout this recipe because, well, it's what we do.
That's right.
It's probably not the last time that we'll mispronounce something.
Oh no, we'll mess up. We'll do something horrific. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I'd go with rather sooner than later, actually.
Yeah. So right now, caramel it is.
So one of the first things, obviously, that you need to do when making caramel corn is make a lot of popcorn.
Yes.
The second thing you need to do is make a caramel sauce. And in this case, we're using butter and brown sugar and corn syrup and various delightful additions to that.
Yeah, a little bit of salt, of course. Yeah.
Yep. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and get some popcorn seeds into the popper. Now I have the best popcorn popper of all time. It is an avocado green version of the burnt orange version that we grew up with.
Yeah.
And Kristen found it for me years ago, and it is the only popcorn popper that I use. So of course that's what we're using here because the popcorn's the best.
I mean, I found this popcorn popper unopened in a thrift store. It even had the original pack of Jiffy popcorn in it. I dared Carrie to eat it. I dared Carrie to pop the seeds from the 1970s. She refused.
I did. But as it turns out, popcorn's been around forever, and they found popcorn kernels from like Egyptian times that you could still pop. So apparently, a 1970 seed, no biggie.
You should have done it.
It could have been a 4,000-year-old seed.
That's true.
Talk about some stale popcorn.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to pour it in. So give me just a second. This could be loud and crunchy.
Ooh, that was loud.
I bet it was.
Yeah.
And we'll get that plugged in and start popping.
Put the lid on first, Carrie. We don't want it going everywhere.
Good thinking. All right, so we'll get that plugged in and get it going. But when I was so excited to pull out old avocado green popper, it did get me thinking about some of the other popcorn poppers that I have seen throughout time.
Me too.
Ooh, okay. And so what was your favorite popcorn popper that you thought that we should own?
Well, I always wanted to own this, and when I talked to my husband about it, his family did.
They were so lucky.
They were. It was the Hamilton Beach popcorn popper that you put butter in on the top, and as you made the popcorn, the butter dripped down on top of the popcorn.
Was it the one with the big gold dome?
Yes, and guess who advertised it?
I can't imagine.
Joe Namath.
Really?
Yes.
Holy cow, I don't recall that at
Oh,
all.
yes, so cool. I actually found online one of the original advertisements where Joe is advertising this popcorn.
Wow.
One of them, he had a broken leg, and he's like, well, this is so easy. I can just make this popcorn on my little stand next to my reclining chair. I'm like, because everybody makes popcorn next to their reclining chair.
Talk about using what you got, right?
I know, right?
Oh, that's hilarious.
There was another one where a little boy was there, sorry, and he said, tell him Joe sent you.
Okay, so that is not the popcorn popper that I wanted.
Oh, what did you want?
I wanted the one that stood upright and it had the yellow chute. So the popcorn would come up and then out the chute and in, you could position it so it would just shoot it right into your bowl.
Oh, yeah. Was that an air popper?
I think they were. Yes. So as I was sharing my love of popcorn poppers, I was talking to one of my friends and she had a different popcorn popper that she was very proud of.
Oh.
And she found a picture of it. It looks like a covered wagon.
No.
It honestly had wheels on it. And I'm like, did the wheels turn? Yes, they did.
So cool.
Yes. And so the covered wagon part was like the yellow dome of your most wanted popcorn popper. So when you got all done, you'd flip it over.
Oh.
You could melt the butter into your popcorn.
Yeah.
And then you had a lovely bowl.
Oh my gosh. Oh, there it goes. It's starting to pop.
Oh, great.
Yay. Okay, we're going to have delicious popcorn in just a few minutes. It smells yummy.
Oh, there's nothing better than the smell of popping popcorn.
And to me, there's nothing better than the sound of the popcorn in that metal avocado green popcorn popper.
You're right. It just makes a welcoming sound. You know deliciousness is going to follow.
Anytime soon.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. All right. So the popcorn's popping. I'm going to start to make the caramel. I'm going to add all the ingredients into the little pan here, and then we have to take it over to the stove and cook it till it's bubbly.
Okay.
All right. So I'm adding, a cup of brown sugar. And then I need to add 1/4 of a cup of the corn syrup, which is going to take forever.
And butter. I'll throw that in there.
Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm. So I was also curious the difference between caramel and toffee and butterscotch, because they're all very similar.
And very delicious.
Very delicious. So toffee is sugar with butter. That's a hallmark of toffee as I add butter into our caramel.
Oh, right. Does caramel not have butter usually?
Not usually.
Oh.
And a hallmark of caramel is white sugar and your ingredients. And a hallmark of butterscotch is brown sugar.
Wow,
and
so we're making a combo.
We're kind of making a butterscotch toffee. We're really not making caramel at all.
That's true. Well, then it doesn't matter how we pronounce it, does it?
Right.
We're making what? Toffee scotch. Toffee scotch.
Yeah, I was just going to go toffee scotch.
That's better, Carrie. You know, this caramel corn may not scream Christmas, but the idea of getting caramel corn as a gift for Christmas kind of came about when our dad was a principal.
Oh,
do you remember?
No, yes, I remember.
Back in the day, he got gifts galore, and mostly they were baked goods or sugary treats.
Luckiest kids in the world. Our mom, not a baker.
No.
We did not have homemade goodies that we recall.
No.
At the holidays at all. But we did because of all of these lovely, lovely parents
who made these treats for Dad. And so he would bring so many home. And remember, it was Ohio in the winter, so the garage was really cold.
Yep.
He had a workbench in the garage, and all those goodies went on the workbench. And so even if our mom said, no, you may not have any treats, you could sneak off into the garage, shut the door, go pull off the little cling wrap off of a goodie, and just pop some in your mouth.
Because what was she thinking? Why else were we in the garage? Like we really pulled one over on her. Oh, the kids are just going to go hang out in the freezing cold garage momentarily. As we're shoving treats into our mouth at an epic pace.
And then when it wasn't Christmas, Mom would buy huge containers of this Diet Faygo drink. And she'd buy all different flavors, but the one that just fascinated me was called Diet Frosh. Faygo Frosh, and it was green. And if I remember correctly, in my mind, it was like a milky green. It probably wasn't.
Okay. So in my mind, it was almost like a neon,
yes,
glowy green.
Oh, it was definitely that bright, right? And it looked so good. So I would sneak out into the garage and I would crack open that top and crank it open and take a little sip. And it was sweetened with saccharin. So I immediately hated it and was grossed out. So I put the lid back on and left it.
And fooled her once again.
So she must have thought, why is this Faygo Frost going flat all the time?
Well, she would have known it was open because it didn't crack.
That's true. Right. Right. So she'd go out and go, how did this get open? She must have known it was me or you.
Like all the Christmas cookies are magically disappearing and the Faygo Frost is open. Is it my spouse or my children?
Dad would have never taken a sip of Faygo Frost.
That's hilarious. I mean, as a kid, you think you're so sneaky.
I did. And
you'll never know.
No. So one of my favorite things that Dad would get as a Christmas gift was the homemade Chex Mix, which is so much better than the stuff you buy in the store.
Oh, yeah.
And here's why.
Okay.
Sometimes you'd get a little patch where the butter and Worcestershire mixture that you use to season the Chex Mix when you make it homemade would be a little extra strong on one of the little Chex pieces. That was the best part.
It was. I remember that.
Yeah.
My favorite also used Chex.
What?
And it was puppy Chex.
Oh, yes.
I didn't even know such a delicacy existed. Oh my gosh. I don't think I've ever had it since. Like, I think 1 year we got it.
Yep.
I pretty much called dibs, refused to share it with anybody, ate it all, and was so excited to get it the next year, which never happened.
Oh.
Stupid. I've never made it for myself.
Right.
I can't fathom it's all that hard.
I don't think so. I think it's peanut butter and chocolate and powdered sugar.
Yeah, and then powdered sugar and rice Chex.
Right.
Yeah, you'd think I'd make it for myself.
One would think you would.
Alas, I have not.
Alas.
I know. Well, should we get that caramel sauce bubbling on the stove?
Yes. Let's read the directions here. It says to cook until it bubbles around the edge and then cook for 5 minutes more.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, you're going to have to watch the clock on this one.
I will.
And in the meantime, when it all comes off the stove, we're going to add some baking soda into it, which should make it nice and bubbly and frothy.
Ooh, it should. You know, I was just watching something online about somebody who was making honeycomb, that candy honeycomb.
The Great British Bake Off?
I probably was watching that, yes.
That's where I saw honeycomb.
Yes, and they mix the baking soda in to make it get all fluffy.
It's like chemical genius.
It is, and then they kind of pour it out on a cool cookie sheet.
Yes.
Let it cool, and then one of the nice things to do is to dip it in chocolate.
They break it all up.
Yes, they have to break it all up first.
Yes.
Yep, so it's a light, fluffy, delicate treat. And so I wonder why we're putting the baking soda into this. I guess maybe so that we don't have super, super hard, crunchy pieces on the popcorn.
I'm wondering if it'll make it cover the popcorn better.
Maybe, yeah.
Because of the little foamy... I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Mary, thus far, has not stirred us wrong. So.
Has not stirred us wrong. That was awesome. Well, you know, as we were talking about Christmas, I looked up the most popular toys in 1974, and we had them. The first one, I was so excited. I know we did not get this in 1974 because you would have been, what, one? Just turned one. And I would have been 4. And so I know we didn't have this. But Carrie, it was the McDonald's Play School toy.
Oh, yeah. And it came with the little trays so that you could go through the drive-thru and they'd pop out the little tray and then you could return them somewhere else.
It was cool. You put the little McDonald worker guy in this little seat and you slid him back and forth, and that's what popped the trays.
Oh, I remember. I bought many a Happy Meal at that.
That little Play School.
Oh,
McDonald's.
Yes, I did.
Do you remember that you could push a little button or pull a little lever on the cash register and it would go cha-ching?
Mm-hmm.
So cool.
It was the best.
Oh, a merry-go-round on the outside. That was just fun. I remember playing with that a lot.
Yeah, as do I. It was definitely a winner in our house. All right, so what else you got for 1974 Christmas gifts?
Okay, you know, oddly enough, a Magic 8 Ball was really popular.
Yes. I didn't know it had been around and popular quite that long.
No, and I think it was made, like, oddly enough, in the 40s or 50s.
Oh, really? Kind of like with the Slinky.
Yes, but it was really popular in the 70s, and I'm sure I didn't get mine in 1974. I know I didn't, to be honest, because I found pictures of us in 1974 opening up our gifts from Santa.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Not a Magic 8 Ball?
Not a Magic 8 Ball. It was, let's see, Play-Doh.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Play-Doh, what was that called? That little machine that you would push down and it would squirt the Play-Doh out in different shapes.
Oh, I don't remember what it was called. I remember I got one of those years later and it was a barber shop.
I remember that.
They had holes. And then you could give
them
it
had a little guy. It had a little character.
Yes.
And you crank the little barber chair and it would have this plunger that came up into the person. And it would push that dough out the holes
in his head and give him hair that you could then cut. Or you could put a little cap on it and give them a, quote, perm and make their hair all curly. Oh, I played with that ad nauseum.
I forgot about that. Well,
now 74 though.
You know, I'm cooking this. I didn't check the timer, so I'm a little bit nervous. I have a Magic 8 Ball now. It's not my original one from the 1970s. Right. Why don't you shake that Magic 8 Ball?
Okay.
And let's see. Let's ask it a question. Magic 8 Ball, is this caramel going to turn out? Or is Kristen going to ruin it? So I guess we should say, is this caramel going to turn out well?
I like, is Kristen going to ruin the caramel? Oh, Magic 8 Ball. And it says, outlook good.
I'm gonna ruin it. Oh, no.
We may need to get out. Well, maybe it said that because we're not actually making. Let's try again.
Yeah.
Is Kristen going to ruin this tough scotch? Don't count on it.
Oh, see, that's better.
It's really all about asking the right question.
I think it really is.
Were there any other 74 toys?
Well, there's one that came out in 73, but I think when I look at the pictures of us at Christmas 1974, looks like I got it.
Oh.
It is Baby Alive.
Oh my gosh, classic.
Oh, yes. Now, I remember if you weren't careful and you didn't clean the Baby Alive out after you fed it the food, it would get all this dried, gunkied up food like stuck in the innards of the Baby Alive. And do you remember how Mom used Baby Alive for you when you were a little girl?
I've heard tell. Apparently, I was an unwilling participant in potty training.
Yes.
And Baby Alive and Circus Peanuts featured heavy in the trying to con me into
very much. Yep. So Mom would take the Baby Alive doll and she found a plastic or a rubber cork that was the size of the Baby Alive's bottom hole down there. Lovely. And she would pour Kool-Aid lemonade in the baby's mouth and then would pull the plug and go, see, Baby Alive goes pee-pee potty.
Oh my gosh. So all I know is growing up, I heard that Kristen saw my mom, it was, cloth diapers. Kristen saw my mom cleaning out a diaper in the toilet.
Yes.
And was grossed out. And my mom said, well, honey, if you'd go potty in the toilet, I wouldn't need to do this. And ever so agreeable Kristen said, oh, okay. And she was potty trained. Me, not so agreeable.
Not so much. I mean, this was like a day of torture for Carrie.
It was.
Dad took me off somewhere fun, and Carrie and Mom did nothing but drink Kool-Aid lemonade, give Baby Alive Kool-Aid lemonade, and sit on the potty all day.
And we drew pictures of potties. We colored ours. So I don't have any memory of it whatsoever.
Talked about potties.
But you all will be proud to know that I do now go pee-pee in the potties.
You were such a good girl. Such a good girl.
It worked.
Yeah. So have we been chatting for 5 minutes? Because I think we might have been.
Oh, I haven't looked at the clock.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Does it look thick enough?
It looks really good. It looks like we're probably ready to add the baking soda. Now, we're going to add the baking soda, and then I think we need to come over quickly and add it into this popcorn.
I'm thinking maybe let's bring the pot here, add the soda, and then pour.
Yes. So you've already poured all the popcorn into the bowl.
Yes.
We needed 15 cups.
15 cups of popcorn, which is not really a lot of kernels.
Yeah, that's odd.
No, I think I used 3/4 cup of kernels, and I had plenty of leftover after weeding out the old maids.
Yes.
Which I just learned is the name for the unpopped kernels, which is kind of mean. It's what they're called.
Now here's a spoon for you to stir up the popcorn with.
I did not create the term. I'm just passing it on, folks.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to add the baking soda in. Oh, shoot, I sprinkled it everywhere.
All right, stir and bring that bad boy over here, and let's see.
Take it off the heat here. It's not fluffing all up like I expected it to.
It's no honeycomb. Is that what you're saying?
No, the honeycomb, gets
it does. It's an immediate reaction.
Yeah. Okay, so how about if I drizzle some over slowly and then you stir and then...
Oh my gosh, this is a lot of caramel.
Oh, which is good because that's why I don't always love homemade caramel corn because I always feel like it could use some more caramel.
Mm-hmm, I agree.
The more caramel, the better.
Yes. It was just funny. So I was telling my mom that we were making caramel corn today. And then I started laughing and I'm like, Mom, younger you must have really had a huge love of caramel corn. And she's like, well, what do you mean? And I said, well, as I was looking through these Mary's memos, you starred and underlined at least 3 caramel corn recipes.
Oh, she did.
And on top of it, you took a Mary's memo, crossed out Mary's recipes on the front, and wrote yet another caramel corn recipe on the back.
That is a travesty. I'm just saying.
And I said, I'm pretty sure you never made one of those recipes. She's like, well, they're so messy.
They are. We're making a hot mess right now. We agree with you, Mom. We get it. But I'm really pleased with how much caramel is on this.
This looks really good.
Some fell out, and now it's falling in my mouth. And so now we have to split it up between 2
9x13.
9x13
baking dishes.
All right, so shall we just scoop her?
Yeah, how about I lift the bowl and
good idea.
Scoop half.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Oh God, that's so bad. Okay, we're scooping about half of it into this pan.
So as we scoop this into a 9x13 pan, I have fond memories of popcorn being found in a different kind of container. Brown paper bag. So my brain, popcorn and brown paper bags are synonymous.
Oh, yeah.
So I will say that the one caramel corn recipe that Mom wrote on the back of the Mary's memo did use a brown paper bag.
Yes, and she liked that because it kind of contained the mess, right?
Yes, that was the only one she used. And so that was good. But I remember making popcorn and putting it in brown paper bags to take to the drive-in.
Oh, yeah.
And then the bag would have like the marbly oil on the outside.
Yes.
Oh, man, it was great.
What are the directions?
We're going to throw it in a 210-degree oven, and then it is going to sit in the oven for an hour.
Whoa.
But we do have to stir it every 15 minutes.
Okay.
And then we're going to store it in an airtight container. And you will definitely want to look at the pictures because Kristen found a fabulous retro airtight container. It's not so retro that you may actually still use it in your kitchen, but it's definitely joyously retro. We'll see you guys in a minute with some hot oven-baked caramel corn. The popcorn is out of the oven.
Oh, yeah.
The house smells so yummy.
Buttery, sweet. Yum.
And it looks crunchy.
It does. I can't wait to kind of stir it up one last time and see how it sounds.
I think. So one of my complaints about homemade caramel corn, though it's minor and would not stop me from eating caramel corn.
Right.
But one of my complaints would be that you get chunks that are almost wet with caramel.
Yeah.
And then you have chunks that there's just nothing on it at all.
I hate those parts. That's why I really don't love homemade caramel corn because it's always disappointing to me.
It kind of is. The idea is amazing.
Yes.
The execution is less than stellar.
Yes.
And so I'm hoping that because we baked it in the oven, that maybe we dried out those wet bits.
Yes.
And we're able to coat them up a little bit better.
Yes, as I was stirring it that last 15 minutes, it was starting to sound kind of hard and there was less stickiness.
Oh, I can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah, me too. I can't wait to try it, but it needs to cool a little bit before we taste test it and put it in the bowl.
Yeah, I'm afraid that if we taste test it while the caramel is still warm, that it is just going to cement itself to your teeth.
Yes, or glue our mouth shut, and that's really bad for a podcast.
Maybe good for a sister, bad for a podcast.
So true.
Well, as we were making this caramel corn,
Yes.
I was looking at it and thinking, it reminded me of those gigantic buckets of popcorn with the little dividers in it where you'd get buttered and cheese and caramel corn all in one.
Oh, yeah.
And I think they were frequently sold as fundraisers for schools, and I think the Boy Scouts did it a lot.
Yes, I think you're right. But our stepsister Kim taught me something really cool with those big buckets of popcorn, those big tins of popcorn, and they're from Chicago. Right. And so she taught me the Chicago way to eat those buckets of popcorn. You take a little pinch of the cheese with a little pinch of the caramel corn and eat it together.
Salty sweet at its finest.
It is so good, the Chicago way.
Oh, I did not know that was the Chicago way.
Yes.
It is a delightful way for sure.
It is. Who would have thunk that you would want to actually eat the cheese popcorn with the caramel popcorn?
Well, so the popcorn bucket and the fundraiser got me thinking. I remember doing fundraisers as a kid.
Yeah.
Couldn't quite remember back as far as the 70s, what were the fundraisers of the times?
Right. I don't remember the fundraisers at all.
Okay. Well, I remember doing them. I remember going door to door.
I remember doing them. I remember my prize that I won when we sold them.
Really?
Yes, because we had it in the bathroom that had that countertop that had the 1800s advertisements on it.
Your grand prize was
My grand prize was an oil lamp.
What? Every kid loves an oil lamp.
I know, right? And I can't remember what was on the front, but it was old-fashioned looking, and the oil in it smelled like apple pie.
Wow.
And Mom had that on the back of the toilet in that little bathroom.
I mean, how perfect, though. It matched the countertop and, kind of take out the stink a little bit.
Yeah, so my grand prize of fundraising was in the bathroom.
Oil lamp.
What kid doesn't want to win that?
Well, so I looked up some fundraisers. They had you sell animal-shaped candles. And one of those animals, there was an owl. And one of them was this droopy dog. In hot pink.
In hot pink.
So this total droopy face. It must have been a basset hound.
Yeah.
All in hot pink. I totally remembered that dog.
Well, so that wasn't a prize? That was something you went door to door? So you would go to a housewife's door and said, hey, I want you to buy this bright pink droopy dog because that'll go with your decor.
They did have other animals. Like you could go with the owl.
Okay.
They had other things that I looked over because it had no memory value to me.
Right, but as a kid, a bright pink droopy dog.
Oh my gosh. The height of amazingness.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Well, I think these are probably cool enough to start putting in the bowl.
Oh, great.
So I'm going to work on this. Let's see how it sounds.
Oh, that sounds crunchy.
It sounds delicious. I'm going to start putting it in the bowl. Well, this would be a beautiful little treat. This really would make a nice little gift wrapped up in a little cellophane bag for your school principal.
Yes.
And then you have two little girls who sneak out into the garage and steal bites of it.
And their parents never know.
Never, ever. No, and maybe they take a little sip of Fago Frosh to wet their whistle after they get all that sweet.
I have to say that as I'm looking at this popcorn, it reminds me of a song. It's an earworm song from Barney.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. And it goes, and you'll hate me because you're stuck with it. Popcorn is really neat. It's fun to make and it's fun to eat. If I sing it again, it'll never leave your brain.
So you better not do that.
I'm not going to. But I have to say, this popcorn was fun to make. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be fun to eat.
I cannot wait to eat it. And I certainly would not have been listening to that song in 1974 because Barney wasn't even out then.
No.
What I would have been doing is I would have had this gigantic pair of headphones on and I would have been plugged in to this gigantic radio stereo system that we had going all along one wall in our living room. I mean, it was huge. It was the size of a big dresser.
Yes.
And it had a turntable.
It did.
And it had a radio in it.
And the turntable was wiggly jiggly. Do you remember that?
Yes. And I think it was to kind of balance it out so that it would be smoother sounding. And we had all kinds of old Christmas albums, probably from the 50s and the 60s.
They were the worst.
I loved them. And
Really?
so, yes, I would drag a beanbag chair over there, sit in front of that gigantor stereo system, plug these huge headsets into the top of it, because you had to sit really close because the cord from the headset was not very long.
No.
And so I'd plug in and I would listen to all that cool retro, for us in the 1970s, Christmas music and just tune out the world. If I had a bowl of this delicious caramel corn while I was doing that, it would have been pure Christmas nirvana, Carrie.
Oh, it would have been.
Oh, yeah.
Easily.
Yeah. Well, do you want to dig in and try it?
Oh, you know I do.
Okay.
Absolutely.
How about if I hum a Christmas tune as you do that and you can pretend that, is that a no?
No.
Okay.
No. Let's take my silence as a not agreement. Okay. I'm going to dig right in.
Yeah. Take
and
a
grab
bite.
a couple.
And while she chews away, which I don't hear terrible crunching from her, but I see like a look of ecstasy that just crossed her face.
That is so good.
Is it?
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Not disappointing at all.
No, it is so crunchy and buttery and it's well covered and the texture is fantastic.
The butter.
Oh my gosh.
This is delicious.
I would serve that in a heartbeat.
I would not be embarrassed to give it as a gift.
No, not at all. I would be reluctant to give it as a gift.
Because you'd want to keep it for yourself.
Oh, wholeheartedly. That is
And
yummy.
If we waited, or if we did not wait for it to cool, prior to it completely cooling, we probably could have put like little Christmas sprinkles on the top.
For sure. Just to add a little holiday flavor to it.
Yeah, that might be fun. Ooh, what a treat.
That is it for this episode. If you would like to see pictures of the food we cooked today, this delicious caramel corn, or a lot of other fun stuff, including some pictures of Kristen and Carrie from 1974 Christmas, head on over to momswoodenspoon.com.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Thanks for listening to Mom's Wooden Spoon. If you like what you heard, don't forget to subscribe. If you want a copy of this recipe or to check out our blog, click on the link to our website in the podcast description. If you'd rather, you could get to our website through Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Pick your poison.
Don't say poison. We're making food.